Morning, and thank you for joining us for today's call with Department of Labor and Industries Acting Secretary Jennifer Berrier. I'm Teresa Elliott, Deputy Communications Director for L&I. Before we get started with opening remarks, I'd like to provide you with a few quick reminders about today's virtual media briefing. The purpose of today's briefing is to provide your readers, viewers, and listeners with information and details about the changeover to Pennsylvania's new unemployment compensation system. If you have questions on this topic, please use the blue chat icon located on the lower right-hand side of your screen to submit your name and media outlet. When you are next in the queue, you will receive a message that reads, "The host will ask you to unmute." Please click that button. Then I will announce your name and media outlet, and you may ask your question live at that time. Following the call, we will also be providing participating media outlets with a link to the recording. For your awareness, this call is being recorded. If you do not consent to being recorded, please hang up now. Any reporters wishing to record this briefing may do so now. Let's get started with comments from Acting Secretary Jennifer Berrier. Secretary?
Thank you, Teresa. Hello, everyone, and thank you for all joining me today. I'm Jennifer Berrier, Acting Secretary of the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry. As you all know, we are entering an exciting time for the department. Beginning next week, the transition to our new, faster, and easier to use unemployment benefit system will be underway. We want this transition to go as smoothly as possible, so we've conducted extensive testing to identify any potential issues and resolve them before the transition begins. I'm happy to report that this process has been going very well, and we're on track to launch the new unemployment benefits system on June 8th. To make this transition, we will be taking our old mainframe offline to individuals filing biweekly claims on June 3rd. So as a reminder, anyone who needs to file next week should do so Sunday through Wednesday, so their claim is processed before the system goes offline on Thursday. The new benefit system will come online Tuesday, June 8th, and everyone will be able to file through this system. And we will be moving to a weekly filing system at this point. Because of the smaller filing window that week, we are preparing for a large number of unemployment claimants to log on to the new system shortly after it is operational. During times of high volume use, the new system will actually invoke a virtual waiting room. This will place people into a queue to enter the website, which will prevent too many users from logging on at the same time and causing slowness and crashes for all users. The waiting room page will show an estimated wait time. If the wait time seems high, users can try logging in at another time. We typically see fewer people filing as the week goes on, as well as outside standard business hours, so I encourage claimants to file during those times. Our staff will be monitoring the new unemployment system around the clock. Should any issue arise, big or small, we have processes in place to quickly identify the cause and put a fix in place. Issues that cause problems for individuals attempting to file their benefits will be prioritized. Because the system is new, users may not be able to recognize whether something is an issue or just a change in process. We'll be launching a status dashboard for the new system that shows the issues we've identified and whether they are resolved. We will also provide updates to specific groups of claimants if the issues only affect some individuals, or on our social media pages if the issues affect many individuals. But I also hope our users take a little time to check out the new system before it launches so that they feel comfortable logging in. In addition to user guides and videos on our website and social media, we are continuing to host live workshops that demonstrate the filing process and answer frequently asked questions. You can find the dates for those and sign-up links on our website. We will also have our phone lines and email open for anyone who needs assistance throughout this transition process. We've been working hard at Labor and Industry to make the transition to our new unemployment benefit system successful. And we're very excited to have our unemployment compensation and pandemic emergency unemployment compensation claimants logging on to the new system soon. Thank you to everyone for your support throughout this process. I will now take questions.
Thank you for those remarks, Madam Secretary. Our call today is focused on providing updates regarding the transition to L&I's new unemployment compensation system. If you have questions, please submit your name and media outlet in the chat box. I will then send a message asking you to unmute your audio, and you'll be able to ask your question live at that time. Additionally, we will be providing media participants with links to high-resolution PowerPoint slides and graphics regarding the offline period and the waiting room that Secretary Berrier discussed in her remarks. We'll provide the links to them for your use in the chat box at the end of this briefing. Let's pause for a moment here as our first question comes in. Our first question today will be from Paul Van Alstall from WTAE. Paul, you have the floor. Paul, are you unmuted?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Madam Secretary, two questions actually. First of all, how long do you anticipate it's going to take to eliminate the backlog of claims after the new system is up and running? And secondly, I'm told that you're required to essentially delete the old system before the new system can go online. Are you confident that by deleting all of the information on the old system, you're not going to lose any information or have any problems if you need to go back to the old system?
No, thank you for your questions, Paul. Let me address the second question first, because I think that's a misconception. We are taking our old mainframe system offline. We are not deleting information. That system will basically be read-only access. It'll be inactive. So if we need to access information from that system, we will be able to do that. Could you repeat your first question, please?
Yes, the first question had to do with the backlog, how long it's going to take to eliminate the claims backlog when the new system is up and running.
So Paul, we're very hopeful that this new system will definitely speed up processes for us. Obviously, within the first month of going live with the new system, there's going to be some issues that are going to inherently need to be ironed out. And also our folks are going to need to get used to the system as well. I think once we get humming, we will be able to chip away at that backlog steadily. I'm not comfortable giving a time frame for that right now because I think it's going to be easier to gauge once we have everything ironed out and we're humming along.
Again, we've entered the Q&A. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do you have an additional question, Paul?
Just a very quick follow-up on the backlog. If you could spell out what the numbers are right now that you're looking at for the backlog for final determinations.
Paul, I actually don't have those numbers on hand. I believe for traditional UC, it's approximately 100,000 or so. And then for PUA, it's, I believe the number is twice that. But also, I think the issue with that is we're still weeding through all the fraudulent cases that are likely in those adjudication queues.
Again, we have now entered the Q&A portion of this morning's call. So if you have any questions, I encourage you to submit them in the chat box. Include your name and your media outlet, please. Our next question is from Seth Kaplan from ABC 27. Seth, go ahead, please.
Hi, thanks for taking the question, Madam Secretary. I just want to ask you, I know you're kind of preparing people for, hey, this might be a step back to take two forward. So for the average claimant, the average Pennsylvanian, what's going to be the most important benefit to this in the long run? Anybody who has trouble early on, what do you want them to think about how life is going to get better down the road?
No, and that's a completely fair question, Seth. It's just going to be a less wonky system to use. It's going to much better reflect what you would typically use to perhaps pay a utility bill or any other kind of online service that you use. It's just a more modern system. Also, it allows you to update information in real time, whereas before that might have been more of a paper process or emailing something to a resource account. Everything's linked together and it operates in real time. our employees are able to access that information in real time. It just allows for us to resolve issues much more quickly.
Great, thanks so much.
Our next question is from Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Lauren Rosenblatt. Lauren, you have the floor.
Hey, thanks for taking the questions. My first one is just, to get a response, how you would respond to people who are worried that this is happening too soon and there's still too many claimants relying on the system. And then also how quickly you think we could know we're out of the woods and that it all worked as it was supposed to.
Thank you for the questions, Lauren. I think people, I understand the hesitation and knowing that we're going live during, one of the highest volumes of unemployment compensation claims that we've ever had. However, frankly, during this entire pandemic, we were basically crossing our fingers with our legacy mainframe system as we were making changes to it. I know you've heard the term before. It was held together with rubber bands and duct tape, and it truly was. And we were holding our breath every time we had to alter that system to make a federal change to it. There's going to be no more holding our breath. We are going to have a good system with good code, and we're going to be able to make changes to that. Also, I think we're going to be able to have better visibility with what the claims actually are. We didn't have certain reporting capabilities or filtering capabilities with the old system. This is going to give us a much better picture of where our traditional unemployment claims are in Pennsylvania. And could you kindly repeat your second question?
One moment, Madam Secretary. She may be muted again. 1 second. Lauren, can you please repeat your second question?
Sorry, I muted myself to cover the typing. I was wondering how quickly, the whole thing will take. Like once it goes live on June 8th, will there be like a couple of weeks where we kind of wonder and wait to see if anything could still go wrong, or kind of like what's that transition period?
So it's interesting. We've actually been talking to a few other states who have gone live with modernized UC systems, so we can level our expectations and kind of figure out what we could potentially be faced with. And from what we're hearing from other states is, it really varies as far as when the system levels out. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like everything's going to be perfect the minute we flip the switch. Obviously, we have to take into account that there could be some blips or issues that could pop up, but I'm very confident because we do have everyone on our team who's going to be here to address issues as quickly as possible. I'm really hopeful that we can level out the new system very quickly because everyone is completely dedicated to making this work and making it run as smoothly as possible, as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Our next question is from Rebecca Moss from Spotlight, PA. Rebecca?
Hi, thank you. Can you speak to what the backup plans you have in place are in case there is a serious failure when that switch flips?
Thank you for your question, Rebecca. We do have, I know our IT folks and our contractor GSI have plans in place for what could potentially happen and how issues are going to be lifted. As far as a serious failure, I have to say, this particular project has been tested, unlike any other IT project has been tested within the Commonwealth. We are fairly comfortable with saying we are not expecting a major failure. Do we have, pool in case of emergency switch? Yes, but I think the likelihood of that happening is very, very slim.
Next, we have Lee Lesniak from NBC 10 Philadelphia. Lee? Lee, I need you to unmute your audio, please. Okay, we're gonna try to send.
I actually see her question. Teresa, I see her question in the chat. She's asking if I could share what other states who have already gone through the transition. She says she doesn't have audio access. So the other states that we spoke with, they indicated that the first week or two was, they were dealing with issues and addressing fixes as quickly as possible. I think some of the best practices that they learned that we are definitely taking advantage of here in Pennsylvania is being able to communicate those issues and fixes to claimants. And we've actually adopted some of their ideas, such as setting up that website that will show in real time what we're doing, what the issues are, and what we're doing to address them. I think what we've learned from them is clear communication is key, and we are completely committed to ensuring that that happens.
Our next question is from Fox 43's Jackie DeTore. Jackie? And Jackie, I sent you an unmute request. If you'd like to ask your question live, please. Okay, we seem to be having an issue with Jackie's audio, so we will move to John Delano from KDKA. John?
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Let me ask you sort of a twofold question. What exactly will the average user see and feel first with respect to this new system? And secondly, many users, particularly older ones, really need a telephone call to somebody for customer service. I know you've made some additional changes there, but can you give us some sense of how long it's going to take for an individual to reach a real live human being to answer questions?
Thank you for your question, John. The see and feel of the new website is a very modern see and feel. It's the same as if you would log on to Amazon or UGI or PPL. You know, I encourage you to look at our website. We have dedicated to this modernized system. We have workshops, we have video how-tos. You can actually experience it for yourself. So I heavily encourage you to look at that so you can get your own perspective, because that's totally a perspective thing. As far as the telephones, we have made great headway on our UC customer service initiative. I believe that I announced earlier where we announced that we would have anywhere from 500 to 1,000 customer service representatives on our phones. I'm happy to announce by June 7th, we will have 500 additional customer service representatives on our phone. Currently, to date, I believe we have 400 new representatives. You know, they were put on the phones this month. Our partnership with Inspiritech has been extremely successful. As they get used to answering the phones and answering questions, the times will speed up. We have noticed improvements with our call wait times and with the number of calls we're able to answer each day. So I'm very hopeful that that will continue to improve and continue to get better. We do remain committed to being able to have someone call and speak to a live individual. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I would encourage any reporters that have any additional questions to please enter them in the chat function now, as we are entering our second round and nearing the end of today's call. So we will pause here for a moment to see if anyone has any additional follow-ups. And I believe next we have Lauren Rosenblatt from Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Lauren, you're next.
Hey, I was wondering if we could get an update on the official cost of the whole upgrade and where that money was coming from.
Absolutely, Lauren. I believe that we used SIF funds for this project that were allotted by the General Assembly. We can get an exact cost to you for the GSI product. It was a deliverable-based contract. I believe it was somewhere roughly in the range of $34 million, but I will have our press office follow up with you on that.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll pause again. Oh, I think we have Jackie back on the line. So one moment, please. Let's see if we can get her unmuted and allow her to ask her question live. Jackie from Fox 43, you're next, please.
Hi, sorry about that. We wanted to know if there are any concerns about people not being able to be paid for 2 weeks. We've had some people on unemployment reaching out asking us if they definitely won't be paid for 2 weeks, and if there is some sort of issue, how long could it potentially be until they get their next payment?
Thank you for the question, Jackie. This actually allows me to highlight the time frame. Individuals who are filing weekly or biweekly claims will be paid regularly. We do have a filing timeline so that they do not miss their weekly payment. I believe I went over it in the beginning when I gave my talking points, but our press shop is actually going to follow up with a calendar that shows you when biweekly claimants need to file in order to not experience a delay in their benefits. So we will provide that to you, and we wanted to make this process to the best benefit possible so individuals will not receive a delay in their benefits. And I'm happy to report that, if individuals follow the appropriate directions, they will not experience a delay. I believe they need to file before June 3rd, and then they can file on June 8th for the second week. But I'll have our comm shop send that calendar to you so you can see that information for yourself. As far as new claimants, we are taking the old system offline on the 31st, and we will not be accepting any new filings until June 8th. However, we have noticed a decrease in the filing of new unemployment claims. So, we're really minimizing the impact of this as far as new claimants are concerned. But as soon as the new system is up and running, we will hit the ground running and processing those claims as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those closing comments, Madam Secretary. And as the Secretary just mentioned, there is a link in the chat box to the filing timeline calendar. So please make a copy of that and access that resource on our webpage. Thank you so much for joining us today. And please email our communications office with any additional questions. Thanks again and stay well.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Memorial Day weekend.